Yo, yo, yo. My man just texted me. He said, damn, only 23 seconds this morning? Shit. That was a technical issue. Technical issues abound. That's okay. We work through them. We get a little bit better. What's going on? As it turns out, my the blackout edition. Yeah, as it turns out, my webcam wasn't plugged in. Amateur, rookie, juvenile, low level bullshit. But that's okay. Welcome on this fine Wednesday to this Wednesday edition of BS with Hannas. That's me. What's going on? Good morning, everybody. It will be a quick one today. I am behind schedule. That is a weak tendency of mine to be behind schedule. It will be eradicated soon, but right now, nah, it's all good. Yeah, man. The whole premise of this, I'll wake up on a fine morning, any given fine morning, typically Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. I'll come out here, man. I'll take behind schedule. Yeah, what's up, EMP? Good morning, dude. Yeah, that's right. Fashionably late. Behind this time. Anyway, usually the premise of this show, I'll wake up and take a nice walk. I'll read some good stuff. I'll come out here and talk to the people. When I'm done talking to the people, I'll roll out. I'll go lift some weights, go to work, go about my business, handle the miscellaneous things that I typically do. And that's exactly what I did this morning. It's how many degrees is it outside? It's still cold, man. It's winter time. 32 degrees. That's cold. I mean, I don't care who the fuck you are. That's cold. Not as cold as it's been. The other day it was like 16 degrees out, 15. Once you get into like 13, 14, 15 degrees, like that's cold as shit. Although, to be fair, I saw some like Instagram thing. It was on some conspiracy page, whatever. It was some like research station in Antarctica. And they were saying that at this point in time, or maybe it's a seasonal thing or a part of a season, they have airlocks at their research facilities. And outside the airlock, it was like crazy 60, 70 mile an hour winds or something, and negative 100 degrees Fahrenheit in like opaque darkness. Man, I think about that. It doesn't even make sense. The mysterious world and hostile climate that is Antarctica. But that's okay. We don't think about that crazy, eccentric, esoteric shit not till after about 10 o'clock. The morning should be about working on yourself. Thus, my schedule. Thus, this show, as we wrap up, get into the final weeks, 2025, man, this BS with Hannas show. That's me, by the way. I'm Nicky Hannas. I make music. I also talk a little shit online on this podcast, where I'll go live on YouTube, rip it live off the cuff, rip it live. No script, no nothing. Couple notes maybe, and just talk about what's on my mind. And what's on my mind is typically, the idea of using my mornings as a good period of time to work on my damn self. I don't, just by nature of what I do for work, I don't go to work. I work in a restaurant, in a burger joint. I'm fucking putting fries in bags and flipping burgers, working on the mixtape and chasing the dream down. I don't go to work till 10:30 or 11. Much of my life, I was a disgusting alcoholic, lazy, slothish, and it always made the time crunch a difficult thing. Waking up late, which I'm still doing, which really needs to stop. Waking up late, procrastinating, pushing shit off to the last minute. I'll do it later. Yeah, once the idea entered my brain from just things I read, things I listen to, you really got to just put that crucial and critical work into yourself if you can. A lot of people do that stuff after work or in their evenings. But to me, there's something just magically different, fundamentally different, when you get up and do that before, handle that shit before your obligations. Nikki B. Latius. Yes, sir. Oh, it's terrible. The worst character flaw I have is fucking tardiness. And it triggers me in other people too. And then I'm like, think I'm so special that I can do it without fucking having it matter. But anyway, whatever, dude. Whole premise of this, I like to wake up and fucking do things that I think move the needle forward in my own self. And I kind of think that as I do that, I learn more and more. And I like getting out here and talking to people, talking to my people online. You know, who knows what the reach is? I'm seeing more and more subscribers get out here, but I'm mostly just out here figuring it out, dude. You know, I'm not some from speaking to anybody from some elevated position. I'm just a fucking, I like to think of myself as a dude getting after it, man, and trying to build something cool, man. You know, to me, it's like I want my own radio channel. I need to look into that. I want a 24/7 fucking stream, be Hannas radio, where it's like all my music and all my talk. That's the old radio model. Music and talk shows, talk personalities. Howard Stern, Opie and Anthony, Preston and Steve. Welcome to 92.3 in the morning here in Philadelphia. That shit sucks, but I like it, man. Talk radio is cool. Music's cool. And if I have the fucking fortune and position to be able to just create stuff and then synthesize it to that, I think that's going to be one of my goals for next year. Just synthesizing it all together, feeding my own ego, so to speak. But who the fuck knows, dude? You know, that's a tricky thing. I love this is from my man Jerome Wright. I love antiquated forms of media. The nostalgia bomb goes hard. Yeah, dude. It's like listening to I love CDs. I have CD players, but I don't really care about vinyl. Vinyl's popular now. Vinyl's trendy now. Probably the past like 8 or 9 years or so, vinyl came back. But dude, I didn't grow up listening to vinyl. I didn't grow up fucking putting needles on the thing and fucking, oh, can you hear it? Can you hear the discernible audio quality? Look how much better it sounds. What? Bro, just put it in the fucking CD player. You know what I mean? Like the CDs to me is like that taps into my adolescence. That taps into my childhood and my youth. It feels good. Changes the experience a little bit. All of it, I think, is preferable to just clicking a button and streaming, looking for the most optimized streaming kilobytes per second frame rate. That shit's kind of like, audiophiles love that stuff. I don't. I like antiquated forms of media. That's what speaks. It's what's genuine to me. It was before the Matrix fucking took over, man. It was before they put their fucking hooks in you. So I like to think, but I've got a whole four people in here in the morning listening to me run my mouth. You ain't shit unless you have I ain't a man. What? Man, Jerome, calm down. You're out here spiraling in the morning, bro. 18th century wax scrolls played through a phonograph. Now, see, something like that I would do. If I could, do we have the technology to make phonographs? I'm not too sure. Anyway, now I'm fucking spiraling. Look at this. Jerome, thank you. You got me fucking going off about who knows what. It's amazing on a Wednesday morning, on a fine Wednesday morning. I need to go fucking work out instead of babbling. So let me get into something useful. Because I believe in reading. I think literacy is important. I think we should all get devoted to being smarter, to putting good things in our mental diet, be it what we consume online or what we read. I think reading books on paper with words that you have to use your eyeballs and your hands to feel and process and think about, I think that shit's important. So as I'm reading this book, First Principles by Thomas Ricks, which is about the classicism influence on the founding fathers of America, namely Washington and Adams, Jefferson, so on and so forth. Here's a quote that I like. This is a quote from John Adams from Boston. John Adams was a bad man. One of my preferred founders to read about. Jefferson's kind of overrated, kind of pompous, elitist, if you will. But that's okay. John Adams says, public virtue cannot exist in a nation without any private and public. Oh, shit. Dude, my phrasing is fucked right there. John Adams says, public virtue cannot exist in a nation without private, and public virtue is the only foundation of republics. There must be a positive passion for the public good, the public interest, honor, power, and glory. See, I don't even know why I'm fucking trying to read this, bro. I'm fucking my whole phrasing up. Let me try this again. He's talking about public virtue and private virtue. Maybe put some context first. That'll help. Public virtue cannot exist in a nation without the private, and public virtue is the only foundation of republics. There we go. He's saying that a republic is founded on public virtue, but you can't have public virtue unless people have private virtue. Virtue in the old sense of the word, meaning honor, integrity, a sense of excellence, a sense of well-to-do, a centralized, objective goodness. There must be a positive passion for the public good, the public interest, honor, power, and glory, established in the minds of the people, where there can be no Republican government nor any real liberty. And in that, he's saying that the public good has to be an interest. It takes all of us. It takes everybody working for the collective whole, for the whole to have any semblance or trace of a public virtue. And when I look around now, you look at the public virtue, you know what I mean? We can't all be so real as to have our own recordings on 18th century wax scrolls played through phonographs or recording something on Edison wax cylinders. Everyone's like, "Oh, I just want to listen to the new thing that they give me. Click the button, enjoy the tunes. Can't you just have fun?" Turns their mind elsewhere, though. Adams goes on to say, this public passion must be superior to all themselves, and they be happy to sacrifice their private pleasure, which means giving up some shit that you love, giving up your own private little inclinations and things for the better good. I look at that as something in the line of, you know, in my mind, it's like sacrificing the time and pleasure, for things that I might be inclined to, food or fucking video games or, self indulgence or bullshit. In a lot of ways, what John Adams is saying is that we all have to have our own sense of objective good to be working at constantly with a mind towards the bigger picture. And if what we like inhibits that bigger picture's actualization or it works against the point of the goodness of the virtue of the bigger picture, that's for the people to figure out, because that shit can't be coerced or enforced. Where the powers that be, the Leviathan that is government, the necessary Leviathan, you can't force people to incline their private virtues towards the public. That don't make sense. That just don't make sense. I found that shit so interesting, dude. Getting in the minds of these old timers. They lived through a lot of shit. I think our public memory, we think back to the founding of the country and the revolutionary era, the colonial era. We forget how long it was. There was a good 100, 120, 150 years of colonizing and exploration and building, nation negotiating, and all types of stuff, man. Interactions with the French, like the clash of empires on a proxy foreign land with the natives and the people who were already there. It's so interesting. And these people are not stupid people. John Adams was like a lawyer, a smart man. All these dudes went to like the original forms of the Ivy Leagues, and they were way different back then. It's so interesting to me. And then it's applicable in its own regard too. I've seen something that what Donald Trump's got some big announcement for Thursday, for tomorrow. My fellow Americans, I will be addressing the nation. Thinking, what's this bull got to say? Meanwhile, there's what I used to love as being the Trump tweets. I used to love it. I thought it was so funny. We got to own the libs. We got to really get them. We got to really put their fucking faces in it. Now it's just like, man, what a joke it all is. And it's so hard. It's difficult for me because I'm inclined to be like, look around at the world, see where my place in it is. It's what I was saying the other day. The myths, the mythology of right now. Where do we matter? Where do we fit in? Where do we have a role in the current context of it all? And if I have patriotic inclinations, like Mr. Adams here is referring to, if I want to help, if I want to make a difference, it's got to start with us. It's got to start with the person. It's got to start with the individual first. And a lot of times that means sacrificing some of the bullshit, which is kind of what I do, man. I think it's, if I have all the time in the world, let's just say like my time is my time is my time. And I want to spend my time how I want to for things that I want, things that I like. You got to sacrifice that a little bit. That's what I've kind of been learning since I've been sober over the past couple of years. I mean, shit, I had to sacrifice the pleasure and outright just immediate satisfaction of being drunk, getting high, smoking weed, smoking pot. I had to give that shit up to become the semblance of a respectable fucking American. The American that I admire, the kind of man I admire. You got to sacrifice to get to that point. And then once you get to that point, I'm like, damn, I'm fat, bro. I like lifting. I've always been in the gym, but like, I ain't looking too good. I ain't feeling too good. I'm eating a whole lot. I really like desserts. You got to change that. So then you got to sacrifice the fucking time in the first place, then your effort, then your pleasure. You got to go fucking get in good shape, get strong, try and get big. It's all just little incremental things you give up to get something from. And at this point, I've been doing it for a little while now. It's like, let me sacrifice some of my own sense of self. You know, when I first started getting on here and talking some shit, it was weird, man. It's still kind of weird. And when I find myself floundering or reading something in a bad cadence or stumbling over a word, you know, it's embarrassing. It's kind of sacrificing some of that, what you hang on to, you know, your sense of self. The real, let me say it like this, you know, the real secure position there would be to just not do it so I don't risk looking stupid. Maybe just for 4 people in the chat, maybe for the whole motherfucking world one day. You know what I mean? Like, you just got to get over that shit. Give a little bit to get a lot. And as I do this, I start to learn more and more. And as I start to learn more and more, it reframes all the kind of stuff and inclinations I've already had anyway. So it only gets better. You know, it only gets cooler. It only gets more important, more hopefully impactful, definitely to me, if not anyone else. So now, as I just continue to read stuff, I value reading. Means I need to sacrifice my time to read. Maybe I'd rather be doing something else. That don't really matter though. You know, if I'd really rather do something else, I can go do it, but I'll get those results instead. And if I want to think about myself as if I'm some kind of fucking renaissance man, which at my best, I like to think I'm that way. You know, I'm a misfit in terms of my inclinations and things I like. I'm not as real well read as the bookworms and historians and scholars. I'm a caveman next to those guys. But you put me next to some brute who's just fucking squatting 700 pounds. You know what I mean? I wonder how many of those dudes are well read. The stereotype says they can't even read a single sentence, but that's stereotypical bullshit. And it ain't about that anyway. You know, I was never quite as haggard and ragged as some of the real drunks and alkies in the world, but I'm certainly not as professional, well to do as like the clean cut cats. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not as grizzled as the real working men of the world, but I ain't no suit and tie guy motherfucker neither. Very interesting. And then in my sense, you know, I get real introspective and probably to a flaw sometimes. I start to wonder, where do I fit in? And that's kind of when I start to look at the outside world. I start to like, well, let's look at the news and see how the world's doing. Ah, it's all fucked all the time. It's all fucked all the time. So let's get back to basics. You know what I mean? Let's get back to basics. Chat's blowing up. What you say, Jerome, right? Our Constitution was only made for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. John Adams said that. Same idea. Society is only good if people have morality. Yeah, well, people are the Constitution. People constitute a nation. A nation is a, a mass, you know, version of the constituency. That's just kind of wordplay. You could call that semantics at some level, but it just straight up is what it is. Laws aren't meant to enforce morality. Morality comes from somewhere else. God. Yeah. You know, I don't disagree with that. That's a massive. Where does morality come from? Where does right and wrong come from? It's a huge argument, whether you're secular, religious, somewhere in between. You know, and that other book I just read, American Gospel, wrestles with that a lot. You know, the founding of of the Constitution, the founding of the country wrestles with that very same question. At the end of the day, you can't enforce. What is it libertarians like to say? You can't legislate morality. That's true. It's up to us. And that's the kind of the shit that I talk about a lot. That's really where I've been at in my life, at least. You know, no one can force me to be a good dude. I don't even think I am a good dude. You know, I'm just a dude. I like to fucking read books and lift weights and play my guitar and write songs and talk some shit and share what I've learned. And, you know, it's fucking super, super interesting, man. Out here on a fine Wednesday getting after it. Maintain my stance that you're too young to be considered a renaissance man. Yeah, no shit, but think from the end. Reverse engineer the end result. That's what the wise men of personal development and manifesting say. Start from the end first and work your way towards it. And I want to be a renaissance man, motherfucker, which means I need to stop running my mouth, though. Hitting that 20-minute mark. Time to go lift some weights. Be a fast one today, I guess. Got to go punch the clock. I got fries to put in bags, man. But it's all good in the hood. Thank you. a fine spiral of a cold Wednesday, a wicked Wednesday, some have said. You can find this at BS with Hannas on YouTube. I go live in the mornings when my webcam's plugged in. BS with Hannas on YouTube goes out to Amazon Podcast, Spotify Podcast, Apple Podcast, so on and so forth. You can find my music, some heavy blues metal right there. Heavy blues metal. Fucking A right. Let me slip this coffee one time. Ah, heavy blues metal, NikkiBHannas.com, NikkiBHannas.bandcamp.com, Nikki B. Hannas on all streaming services. I got another YouTube channel, backing track jam series, some live videos, some music videos at Nikki B. Hannas. Everything I do is condensed on the Patreon account, patreon.com/Nikki B. Hannas. And yo, shout out to my man EMP, by the way, that app you told me to get, dude. Opus Clips. Yeah, so I'm gonna start clipping these up and fucking putting them out there. YouTube Shorts. Made a TikTok account. Still figuring it all out. I think I want to have a TikTok creator account, but not actually download the consumer account. Because either you're a creator or you're a consumer. And that is a great dichotomy, a great binary. I usually don't like binaries. It's not always one thing or the other. Sometimes it is. The important things is one or the other. No gray area, no bullshit, nothing in between. Creating or consuming is one of them, but what the fuck do I know? Anyway, my shoulders, they need to do hundreds of reps in a rapid succession. Keep it real. Creation is the new consumption. Yeah, maybe, but you're spiraling. Anyway, it's almost 10. We'll talk about Atlantis later, dude. Holler at me. Keep it real. One love. Peace.